Thank you for watching, and remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for your support.
Week the way you and I started it, and unfortunately, a lot of people in Texas and Louisiana dealing with these storms and flooding.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the threshold by now, right, is so much lower that it's going to take a lot less rain to cause the flooding compared to what we had to deal with earlier this week. So flash flood watches remain in effect here across eastern Texas through about the western half of Louisiana and even stretching into parts of Arkansas towards Texarkana. And this is going to stay in effect through this evening. We've already seen a ton of rain this week. This gives you a little snapshot of what we've had just in the last 2 days. And you can see that gold, those higher concentrations here around Lake Charles, also off towards the west of New Orleans, over towards Baton Rouge. And that's where we're seeing some of that flooding ongoing that Chris was just talking about. That's just west of Plaquemines right now. And local media reporting that there are some evacuations having to take place because of that, because Combs may be taking on some water. But look at that orange color. That's showing you anywhere between 5 and 8 inches of rainfall. That's just incredible that we got that in 2 days. Plus we had rain earlier on top of that. And the main focal area that the models are putting out now are showing the heaviest rainfall is going to start to shift slowly by early next week into more of central Texas. So I think we're still looking at a lot of rain southeastern Texas as well as into Louisiana today into tomorrow for sure. But by Monday and Tuesday, I do expect to see some improvements. Of course, we have to watch our little tropical disturbance and how that's going to be a player, but that's going to bring some widespread rain there. The good news is these numbers are more in line of 1 to 3 as opposed to the 5 to 8 plus that we were dealing with earlier. High pressure is in control across parts of the southeast, and that's really driving this moisture feed into Texas and throughout that area. So the position of this high is really going to be critical in terms of who's going to be getting the rain and who isn't. And so this high really starts to build in as we head towards early next week. And so that pushes it a little bit off towards the west, which means get through the weekend and we'll be in better shape. Now, a few of the storms could be severe this weekend yet with that feed coming in, not to mention the drier, cooler air with that trough off towards the west. So where the two kind of come together from Fort Stockton towards Roswell up towards Trinidad, even into the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma. We'll watch for that severe weather threat. I think primarily hail makers will be the big concern, but all modes of severe weather can't be ruled out. And you can see the spotty nature of these thunderstorms, especially into the afternoon and into the evening hours. Of active weather we can be expecting, because I think we have two different things going on here today. First of all, we'll start out with the risk here into the high plains. So we're talking about you into far eastern parts of Colorado as well as into Wyoming up through parts of the Dakotas. These are areas that actually really could use some precipitation. I think strong to severe thunderstorms will be developing here today, a few of which could be producing some really large hail. I think that's the primary risk there. Then we're watching a secondary area. I think there'll be a lot of showers and thunderstorms scattered across the region here, but it's a small area where we could see a few storms begin to rotate. So I think this will be a little bit more of a tornado threat. The tornado threat is low, but it's not zero. So just be on alert in both of these areas here today. Here's a look at the active radar right now. It's mostly just rain. We're not even seeing a lot of lightning popping up here. We had a couple of flashes in southeastern Minnesota, and that's about it. And then we're watching for development farther off towards the west, say the panhandle of Nebraska, on up into western parts of the Dakotas as well. Now, we were seeing some storms that looked like they were intensifying earlier. This is to the west of Interstate 29. There's Marshall, there's Sioux Falls, and there's Huron, South Dakota. Nothing too impressive about that, nothing severe, but it gives you the idea that things are starting to just a little bit in that area. Also keep an eye on the Twin Cities. You have some heftier showers that are trying to work their way in. And then as we look at the dew points, boy, it really shows you how ripe our atmosphere is. I'm sure you can feel the humidity in the air right now. Dew points well into the 60s, even upper 60s in some spots. So that's pretty impressive to get that kind of a moisture transport coming in from the Gulf this time of the year. In terms of the available energy, we've got it. Notice some higher amounts here in the western parts of Iowa, and then we're seeing it here into the Panhandle as well. So we just need to get a little bit more lift going as the storms begin to grow into the afternoon. So there you can see these widely scattered showers, a couple embedded thunderstorms moving across parts of the Mississippi Valley, and then out towards the west around the ridge and around the periphery of that trough across parts of the west. That's where showers and thunderstorms are going to get going, and we're more concerned about that, I think, in the evening hours as opposed to this afternoon for a place like Goodland, North Platte, Rapid City, and then stretching into the Dakotas. Again, this is beneficial rain that we're expecting to see in this area. We certainly need it. We just don't want the severe weather to go along with it, right? Quite the drought ongoing here that includes you into Bismarck. Dry conditions until maybe after 9 o'clock tonight. So be prepared and know that some of these are going to linger into the early morning hours for tomorrow. So, Chris, not just storms.